Follow is a presentation of MRE Uno, Division 1.
If you were to tell me going into this tournament that we'd have an 8 versus 14 regional finals matchup to determine who makes the Final Four for the very first time, I would have told you it was a fairy tale. Thing is, we're in movie May, and this is where fairy tales happen. And what we have here is quite the fairy tale, quite the story we have that you can only see in theaters. Number 8 seed, Abyan, disastrous tournament 2, controversy all over the place, gets up, redeems himself, and now is one match away from making it to the Final Four. Acosta, only one career win heading into this tournament. Everyone talking about him being on the relegation line. Now he finds himself in the regional finals with one match away from making his first Final Four. Hello everyone, and welcome to the third match of the Epic 8 for Memory Uno's Movie May in Division 1. I'm your host, G-Man, and we have quite the match for you tonight. It's going to be number 8 seed Abyan going up against number 14 Acosta. Let's break down the matchup here for you. Abyan in the veteran class entered this tournament with a abysmal 1-2 record. Just did not have a great start to the season. Both these guys have not had great starts to the season, but it's really turned around this tournament in reality 3 straight. And now sits at 4-2 heading into this match. 13-5 tournament 3 games record, so doing pretty well in the games, and only a one appearance in the round of 8 before, and that was in a loss in his debut tournament in 2024 March Madness. Then we go to Acosta, which I mentioned in the intro. Only one career win entering this tournament. He's gotten in 3 in this one. Novice class, 13-10 games record. He's had some close games. And this is his first career appearance at the round of 8, and he looks to make the most of it and possibly make the Final Four for the very first time. CPU prediction, they think it's going to be a close one, but Abyan 5-4 is the final call. We'll see if that comes right, but this is going to be an interesting one to watch out for. Let's take a look at the bracket for you here. And we've had quite the interesting round, and we talked about it. Fairy tales happen here. I mean, you look at this whole bracket, this is complete chaos from start to finish. We'll start with the first match here from the Slushie region. I mean, 1 versus 15, you'd think number 1 seed Myth make it back-to-back Final Fours, but no. Mac Johnson comes out of nowhere, makes it to the Final Four for the very first time in his career in 9. 5-4 victory for Mac Johnson, the 15 seed for the second straight tournament into the Final Four. And then for the Popcorn region, Very Gold, John Hard, both players with terrible starts to the season, both looking for some redemption and getting a massive run. Both got to that point, but it was all chalk there. Very Gold continues his tournament 3 dominance in this one and wins. He's looking to rekindle some of that 2023 magic, and he is 2 matches away from being a 2-time tournament 3 winner in this league. And now we have, of course, Abyan and Acosta up next, both fighting for their first Final Four. And, of course, our last matchup, in probably the least chaotic one of them all, number 2 seed Monkey versus number 9 seed Brad in the Candy region. That'll be happening on Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you want to tune in for that one, as that will determine the final spot in the Final Four. Let's take a look at the stream here. We had a bit of an issue at the start, but we are good to go now. I am joined by my co-host, which is nobody. I don't have a co-commentator tonight, so I'm gonna ride this solo. Again, since I am streaming a D1 game, so I think that already tells you that we are kind of low on numbers right now. It is Memorial Day weekend, but we'll roll through with this. And we, of course, have Abyan in the voice chat with us. Costa cannot do voice chat right now, unfortunately. So, for him, we wish him the best, as we'll be typing out his questions for him. Since I don't have a co-commentator to battle off to, we're going to just jump right into the player questions for Acosta's. I have his typed out right here. I also have Abyan's in text as well in case he wasn't here, but I'm going to post here. I'll also post Abyan's as well just for clarity's sake, and also just as a visual. For Acosta, it's been by far the best run of your entire career. Now you're at a pivotal point in this run where you're potentially looking at your first career Final Four. What has the rapid growth over this tournament meant to you, and what's the expectation going tonight to try and continue the Cinderella run? Then for Abyan, who's in the VC with us, this is a spot you've been at before, but you're at a point where this has been a run of vengeance for you thus far. Without Tournament 2 ended up. This is your second showing in this round, your first coming your debut, where you were unsuccessful there. What do you feel will be in your best interest in order to get redemption yet another match, this time making your first career Final Four? I don't know if Abyan's going to do VC or like voice, or if he's going to type. But we'll I guess we'll find that out. But Acosta is answering the question there. So we'll see what he has. Okay, Abyan's gonna type. So both our players are gonna type here. Just have a quick pre-game here. Don't really have a massive crowd here since we are on Memorial Day weekend. Initially wasn't going to have matches at this point, but you know, that's just kind of how things work out sometimes. A bit of a cramming in everything. So was able to get the match here, and yeah. So we'll see what they have to say, and then we'll get things going here. Cyan will be our referee, so we'll see what the call is, as we already have the game set up here. But I will be curious to see what both these players have to say, because this is an interesting matchup for both, since neither have made the Final Four before, and Abyan is the only one who's been here before, and that's only been once. While they get that set up, I'm just going to quickly open up the scoreboard so we can get this rolling. I know sometimes we have no timers on some of the games, but I'm someone who usually likes running the timers, so we'll have that for the audience, so that should be good. Alright, there's Abyan. Well, I just want to make it short. I think this is the first time playing against Acosta, so I don't know how much he plays. I'll try to invest using some of the tricks used in the previous series to win this one. So yeah, and again, that's another thing as well, because like neither of these guys have ever played each other. Acosta is usually a one and done in these tournaments, but this has been really a massive exception for him because he's had such a great run. But we'll see what Acosta says. I'm happy to be here. Just want to see how this game goes early and go from there. It's always nice to make a large run in any tournament, but this one feels great. The growth feels like a build-up just waiting to pop open. Feels like cracking open a coconut. This expectation is the usual, going out on house money and having fun. Who knows what can happen? Best luck to Abyan. All right. Well, with that being said, I think we're ready to get things going here. Cyan, feel free to give Abyan the most famous words in the league. And we will be able to get this series going here. Best of 9, 2 power plays. So Abyan will have the call for game 1. Again, this is a I'm thinking 5. Oh, he's gonna go low here. Okay, that's interesting. Interesting start here. And it's gonna open the green 2, so I'm trying to set the pace real quick to begin this one. I'm wondering if this will be a trend we'll see, but again, with best of 9, it's gonna be 2-2-2-2-1 or 2-2-2-2-1. Yeah, so we'll have pairs of 2s for their home stand. So Abyan will get another one after this, but this is a really interesting opening with the no send, and he's gonna be able to play to start things off with the green 7. Will Acosta have the response, though? Because sometimes you don't really have those response in the low ones. And he's going to go for a wild blue immediately. So didn't like the green, but going to run with the blue. And that actually works out for Abyan, because blue 7 was going to try to maybe switch to it anyways. Now, what does Acosta do here? Just plays a number. Does this actually help Abyan, though? Maybe the green 7 was his only green. I mean, you see the switch right there. But no, Abyan has ran out already, so not necessarily a good situation for him, especially with Acosta willingly using the wild blue. He's going to play another number again this time. And again, this kind of goes quickly. Sometimes having those wilds or special cards is a huge advantage, especially on the no send. And that's the risk Abyan went with this. Draws a blue 0 off the top deck. Does that potentially mess up what Acosta does? No, it does not. +4 and the +2. And Acosta's gonna win on the roulette there. So don't really got much to say on that one. Abyan took the risk and it didn't work out. I guess the only thing I'll ask is Abyan, I'm curious what the call was on that one to go for the risk. That's about it, honestly. Because, yeah, I mean, Acosta had 3 of his 5 cards be power cards. Just want to have a quick win to start it off. All right, well, didn't quite work out there, but you still have the call for game number 2. So, all right, and it's going to go the other side here with the full send. So, exploring both ends of the board here, and it's going to be the yellow 4 to open things up for game number 2. Yeah, ultimately that risk did not really pay off for Abyan here, because getting that opener can sometimes be pivotal, but I mean it's also a feeler as well, so it's not necessarily the end of the world. This is a best of 9, so got plenty of time, but not necessarily a good start. It makes this second game a little bit more important to win to make things even. And again, we go back to blue. Costa, both games so far, has decided to immediately go to the blue. Abyan's response is to ditto. So first a ditto of the game. And now we're just going to run blue for a little bit. Yeah, not a rapid pace right now, but a little bit more on the middle end at the moment. As my phone is lagging great. But at least the stream's not lagging, which is the important part. And there's the switch for Acosta, so Acosta going for the switch there into green, trying to control the color pace. And Abyan's just kind of rolling with it right now. And that, oh wow, only 1 green from Acosta there. He draws right away. That might have been an ill-advised switch. Abyan's gonna roll with green here. Acosta trying to maybe look for that switch here quickly. Is gonna top deck a green 0 though. But now Abyan has the advantage. Still early though, 10 to 12 on the cards. That's kind of what happens with the 15 card start. Got a while before you get that finish, but haven't really seen any ammo cards yet. And just as I say that, green skip plays, but Abyan has a bit of a goof up on the command, but doesn't affect him ultimately, as he goes with the 3 card switch into red. And this might become a 3-color game now, as Acosta is now going to go with the red 0. Yeah, and I think Abyan in a good spot right now, able to run with the colors here. Acosta fine with the red for now, but might need to look for a disruptor soon. So Abyan had that look. Abyan had that early look with the ammo and gave himself a good cushion. Now he's got a little bit of comfort room to be able to kind of do what he wants. And Acosta's not really responding with ammo either, and that's not really what Abyan wanted there, because it was on a bit of a roll, and now he has to draw. So now Acosta now in the driver's seat. But Abyan gets a wild blue potentially off the top deck. That wild blue has been shown to be pivotal in the first game. Will it be pivotal in this one as well? Acosta with the blue 1 again, looked for that switch anyways. I'll be unable to play it. Now what's the move from Acosta here? It's a wild yellow. Okay, so been a little bit since we've seen yellow. What's going to be the response here? Abyan has it, yellow 5. And again, there's your table check right there. Abyan is close. Acosta behind, but not too far behind. Of course, there's now what does Acosta have up his sleeve? It's gonna be a 3-card run. Evens it up, splits his cards in half. What's up? What does Abyan have here? Typing things up here. It might be a finish. Is taking a while here to write this one. Yeah, there's your finish right there on the blue. So yeah, another +4 to end it. But the blue skip, blue 5 gonna add to it as well. Now we are tied 1-1. Abyan, any comments on that one? The full send worked out better than the no send. But any takeaways from your first home stand as you split games here and now you enter on the away side? Right, and then for Acosta, curious to see if he has any takeaways because I mean most of that game he was playing behind, but again he had that 3-card run to tie things up at the end, but ultimately it was not enough as Abyan was able to play that yellow 5 that was technically just lingering around for him, but had that connection anyway because he had the blue 5 as well, so was looking to be in a pretty good spot there no matter what. Again, we'll see what Acosta has to say. And again, this has not really been a long run series. I mean, you see the longest chain for both players is that 3, so nothing crazy. Just the yellow wild try to force him to draw, but he had the wild +4 in his hand. Yeah, all right. Well, with game 2 done, we now go to Acosta's first homestand here, as he will have the call, just cannot pick 5. We'll see what he decides to go with here. As Simon, feel free to ask him because he's not in VC. I think he might be listening to the stream though, so could be also that one. All right, gonna go with 9 here, so a bit of a middle of the road here after we went to both ends. We have a +4 start, free choice off the bat. What does Acosta do here? This is as I have said a million times, this is a double-edged sword. This could work out very well for you, and this could also very easily blow up in your face. So I'm very curious to see what Acosta is going to start with here and how Abyan will respond. Gonna go with the blue. Really likes to start with that blue there. Abyan's gonna roll with it as well. That's 3 games in a row now where Acosta has started with blue as his first card played. And Abyan only has 1 blue. Blue just not being very kind to Abyan right now. Acosta also has ran out of blue. So both players technically out of blue right now. Abyan gets a top deck. But now I think for both players, it's either draw city or finding a switch here. Costa draws. Can Abyan get the switch? Yes, he does. He gets it into the yellow. Advantage. Advantage Abyan now. Acosta is able to play that. But we'll see what Abyan rolls with here. This is now moved into a 3-color game. 3-color switch here into red. We saw that in game 2. Abyan down to 4. Acosta with the red 0. You gotta think Abyan trying to roll with this red here. He is, and this is looking to be potentially a quick game here. Only about to hit a minute 45. Can Acosta find some sort of response here? to try and close things up, or is Abyan going to run away with this and go up 2-1? Wild blue there. It goes back to blue, looking for potentially the KT Classic. Abyan cannot find a finish, and I would not be surprised if Acosta draws here. It is taking a second. There's the type. Okay, no, okay. So he has a blue actually. Blue 8 may have been his top deck here, but is he going to be able to find the switch out, or does he actually have some more? Again, another wait here from Acosta, slowing things down a little bit. And he's got a +4 into green now, so he now takes the lead. Abyan up to 9. And Acosta now rolling. Again, green, that's his scoreboard color. He likes the vibe with green here, but Abyan with not much of a response here, and suddenly Acosta has flipped this game on its head. Question is, can he capitalize? He's gonna use the power play, so uses one of his power plays. We'll be looking to try to finish this here. Again, just because you power play doesn't necessarily mean you have the game locked up. But he's going to do it right, and he is going to go up 2-1 here with the power play use. So, good stuff to Acosta there. Runs it with the green towards the end. Abyan, my question really is, did you really have anything there that could have stopped that, or was this just kind of the wild blue, and then the +4 kind of just threw off what you were going for, and you were kind of left stranded from there? Oof, that's rough. So nearly had the finish there. But couldn't quite get it. Couldn't quite get it done. But it's another one of those situations where maybe could have potentially used the power play, but ultimately was not the case. Again, there's the question for Acosta there as he uses the first power play of the series. I definitely see the vision with using that to just be a little bit more protective, but ultimately he does have 2, so he still has another one left in the back pocket. So I do like the early usage here, but I'm curious to see his specific thoughts on the use there. All right. Yeah, again, sometimes with these all text matches it does take a little while. There's definitely some dead air, but all right. With having 2 power plays tonight, why not be more aggressive on the usage? Wanted to get ahead and feared he could have switched off the 5 or 9, which is honestly fair enough, especially with 9 cards. Don't really know what the opponent has there, so especially when you just give a bunch of ammo there as well. But Costa's still typing here, and he does have the call for game 4 here. Now he can't pick 5 or 9. Good thing I did, because he would be up right now. Yeah. Alright, well, Acosta has a game 4 call here. 9 worked out well for him, ultimately, so I'm wondering if he'll stay with the mid-tier, or maybe explore somewhere else. But we'll see what the game 4 call is on Acosta's side here. Alright, gonna go 1 up with 10. So we're going to stick with that mid tier, and we start with the red here. Does Acosta switch to the blue right away like he's done in the first 3 games? Again, just taking a second to look through the cards here. Don't want to make a early mistake on the play, because that could definitely set you behind early. Red reverse. Red 6. Alright, so it does not go into the blue for the first time to start it off. Now, what's the response from Abyan, though? Because Acosta just did a double here to give himself a bit of a lead. Only going to play a single card. That's a Pier 4. What does Acosta do here? Does he keep it rolling on the red? No, and there's the blue right there. So the blue came one turn later, but it does ultimately still show up towards the start of the game. And Abyan has had a bit of a mixed bag with blue so far. There's been games where he's not been very strong in it. We'll see if that's the case here. But Acosta, in a way, doing the 1-2 switch with the double play and then the switch. So I'm curious to see what he has on blue. He's gonna have a +2, so it throws Abyan back a little further. And now Acosta's rolling here, looking to make things 3-1. Again, the pace has kind of been a little bit middle, slower pace for a good chunk of this game so far. So, not playing super quick, but not playing absurdly slow either. So at least in that case, it helps for the stream, because especially with no commentator, that'd be very tough to not have dead airspace on. But ultimately, Abyan trying to come up with a response here may have a bit of a run going. And that's going to be the longest run of the game thus far from either side. +2 on the blue, so both +2's gone on blue. 4-card run thus far, looking to make it 5, maybe 6. It's going to make it 5 with the yellow 6. And suddenly Abyan is now in the lead. Splits his cards in half. Now, what's the response from Acosta here after a big run from Abyan? Acosta did give him the +2. Abyan repaid it back, and now we go on yellow here. Acosta's just going to play with the numbers. And Abyan's ran out on yellow, so might not have been what he was looking for. We go back to blue. Does this help Abyan, or is he stuck on 2-color? He's stuck on 2-color, and suddenly this has not panned out well for him whatsoever. And now we get the double switch here from Acosta. So now we go into green. This should free up Abyan, but ultimately that gave Acosta the lead right there. That kind of flipped the table in a way. Abyan able to roll, but Acosta has now taken big advantage of the situation. Double green 4 from Abyan here. Acosta looking to bring it down to 2. Can this, please? Thank you. Ooh, another wild here from Acosta, and this time it goes into red, and now real Abyan's really got to think what he has here. So he is putting Abyan in a tough spot. He's gonna power play. Red 5, trying to play a bit of a disruptor here. Just about the longest game, and he's gonna possibly have the finish right here on the +2s. Green skip, green 8, and there's the finish right there. Abyan, in a way, might have just stolen one right there. So he gets the job done. And now it's 2-2. So both players have used the power play as well. I mean, for Acosta, that's really the only thing I'm asking about. And then for Abyan, you kind of answered the question there with afraid of what happened in Game 3, so yeah. I'm curious if that ultimately ends up being a steal, which is like a really effective power play. Because it's one thing the power play that finished the game, but if you power play and actively change what would have happened if power play didn't exist, that's a big advantage. So I'm curious to see what Acosta had to finish there. Because I mean, he was gonna get down to at least Uno. Didn't have red, another wild and yellow 3. Okay, so I mean, that's interesting, but like also technically the no, that would have I actually think that would have I think in a way he did steal it because Abyan would have played the red 5 there and had no path to get to the yellow to the other cards, so I don't actually think that's a flush. Now, if Abyan ran +2 to the end, then yes, but he had that red 5. Costa was gonna play the wild yellow next, so that actually swapped Abyan and getting the win there, so that's a big power play. Those are the power plays I usually like seeing a lot, so. Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. So you actively switched what would have happened with the power play, because you would have lost that game if you didn't power play. Um, but yeah, now we'll go to game 5. And Avian will have the call here, just can't pick 10 or 15. We know Avian said after the second game he's liking the high tier, so we'll see if he sticks with something like that, or maybe go somewhere around the mid tier as well, since that's been mixed success so far. Alright, gonna stick with the high tier. Not necessarily surprising, 15 worked out well for Avian. And we're gonna go with blue here. Blue is really like showing up at the start of these games. Gonna stick with it, blue 0. Not gonna jump on the reverse chain for a run. What's the response from Acosta though? Wow, okay. Draws right away. Abyan gonna throw some more ammo on there. So, okay, so Acosta had drew on the blue. Didn't seem to have anything there. Plays the blue 9 now. And Abyan with a pretty sizable advantage at the moment. I mean, if that draw was true, that could be really bad for Acosta. But we're not really going to find out right now as Abyan goes into the red. Acosta's going to switch back into the blue here, though. So now it's Abyan out of blue. Or does it... Okay, no, Abyan actually has a crossover into the yellow, so back-to-back crossovers. Acosta not going to be able to switch into that blue without a wild. Going to run with the yellow, though. And a lot of color switching here earlier on. I see not going the green. That is Pandora's. And now we got an interesting spot here. Now we get the switch into blue. Another double crossover. And there's the draw from Abyan. So Abyan's ran out. And now Costa running the blue here. So there's a switch. So I'm ultimately thinking that draw was not true. But Costa gonna run the red for now. That's gonna leave blue to be a really interesting color going forward. Now we clearly got a bit of a situation here where we run red here. We have a bit of an unknown with blue at the moment. Then you got yellow and green as well thrown into the mix, which we'll probably see at some point. But just rolling with the reds right now. We're gonna run this red dry. It's just really who draws or switches first. It's gonna be a double from Abyan here. I'm wondering if that could be his last two cards. We've seen a lot of players do the double into a draw. So maybe Abyan looking for that fortunate number switch. He does not get it, and now he draws. What does Acosta do? He goes back into the blue. More blues to be had from Acosta here. And with no 7, this could be a trouble spot for Abyan. Maybe was hoping for a top deck somewhere. Did not get it. Draws once again. He's stuck with yellow and green. How much blue does Acosta have here, though? Apparently not much. As we go into green here, that should free up Abyan, but things are now tied. Abyan's still barely with advantage, though. But how much is that advantage truly the case, as haven't really seen a whole ton of ammo thus far. Could be being safe to the end. Question is who really has that run right now. Acosta taking a second to type. Could be going on a run right here. No, just plays the green 6. And at this point, we're really down to 2 colors here, so it's really going to be who has more of what. And I think at this point, a draw here would be absolutely detrimental. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting end to this game here, as we are getting close to 5 minutes. Haven't had any absurdly long games so far, but it's kind of been a bit of a middling slow pace at the moment. More of a casual walk. Costa's gonna go for a double here. Gives himself some distance and the lead. He goes down to his last 2 cards. Abyan up to 6. What's the response from Abyan, and what is it, or those 2 cards he's just gained gonna play into his hand? Could they help him, or are they junk? We'll have to find out. Abyan just gonna play with the green 3 here, though. Costa, what is the response here? Could he find a finish? Could he find Uno? Or does he just play it cool? Or does he even draw? So much could happen at this point in the game. We don't really know. Costa's kind of been a little bit on the slower end of the pace. And oh, okay. No. Okay. So tried to play a reverse somewhere. It went horribly wrong. And he draws now, so we're gonna have to keep an eye out for that. There was no color there was no color given, so that didn't work, and they drew, so didn't have a finish right away. Abyan gonna play the green. This could be advantage for Abyan, though, because it might not be any more greens for Costa. No more greens. Abyan looking to roll through with this. Goes into the yellow. Has the +2. Abyan back up to 5 and leaves the door open here, so now we're in an interesting spot where it's just kind of junk city. This is going to be really interesting to watch out for as we get to the end of this. Past 7 minutes, now longest game. Opening the door Costa, and it's another draw here. Once again leaves the door open. Less risky door opener with the red reverse, but Costa draws 4. Abyan up to 4. Costa up to 8. And now this game's to end. It might be a little bit more distant than we thought. Yeah, bit of a reset here, as no red from Abyan here. Jumps on the +2. But ultimately now hoping for a fortunate break. Costa's going to go with the red skip and then the red 0, so it doesn't quite give the switch out. And also plays the hardest switch in the game, and it's gonna work. So Acosta, I'm looking to possibly keep it on red for now. We might have Tapir jump into the commentary booth in a little bit, so we'll see if he joins. But Costa rolling with the red. Abyan's still struggling. Cannot find an escape here as Acosta continues to slowly go down the numbers. Finally gets the switch here in the blue. Blue reverse, and that must have been the color that just Costa could not find. So finally plays that reverse. Now goes down to 2. Abyan with the blue 8. Costa looking for potentially the finish here. After a bit of a mess up on the blue reverse. And he gets the yellow 8 switch. That might have been just what he needed. Now the pressure's on Abyan here. What play does he make? He goes for the wild blue. Look at the ice things out. And Acosta does not have it. The game continues. Abyan down to 3. Has another wild here and goes into the yellow now to stuff things out here. We'll see if Acosta actually had the finish here. Potentially. Seems like Abyan may have had the finish on the yellow, but didn't want to risk it. Gets the Uno. That could have been the finisher right there. And Abyan potentially playing with fire here. Don't know if that second card could have been yellow. And it's not going to matter. He's going to play that perfectly and get the win there. 3-2 Abyan. Really well played to block out the Uno and then get the finish there. Abyan, I mean, walk you through your thoughts here. That was the longest game of the series so far. It was really back and forth, but things got pretty tense towards the end, but you were able to find a way to pull it out. Any comments on that one and getting the win there? You were the first one to break the trend of these back and forth games. I think the command screw up from Acosta saved me. All right. And for Acosta, this question had a bit of a mess up with the blue reverse towards the end, and it ultimately got stuffed out from a wild blue. Any comments on anything that could have been done slightly different there? And I mean, again, you kind of look back towards that kind of not necessarily pivotal, but interesting moment because Acosta did not put the blue there, so didn't register and and the draw registered. So then ultimately things got stuck on a green. Yeah, trying to do blue reverse and it drew. Wouldn't have won either way. He was trying to play isolation. But yeah, I mean, I think with Abyan, if that was on blue, that would have put him in a worse spot. So the fact that he was on green and able to capitalize on that put him in a slightly better spot because then that was 2 colors Acosta could not finish on. But yeah, with that said, we'll jump to game 6. Abyan still has the call here. Just can't pick 14, 10, or 15. Gonna go 13, and I think that's kind of gonna be what we see from him for the rest of the way. Because this high tier is really working so far. Again, both with the power play left. Abyan up 3-2, looking to make it 4-2. Yellow reverse is going to be the opener here. We'll see if Abyan jumps on it. This is, I believe, the second game in a row we have a reverse opening the game. And once again, Abyan is not going to jump on it. Gonna go with the yellow one, though. And now we roll with the yellows here. Acosta gonna go 1-up with the yellow 2. And now we just keep things cool with the yellow numbers. So, not gonna go for a crazy start. We haven't really had many crazy starts here in this series. There's the blue. Acosta loves switching to it early game. Abyan, this blue has been hit or miss. Not really going to test it for now. Going to go with the crossover, the red. And Acosta with the double blue 8. He wants to really play this blue right now. And Abyan's going to begrudgingly accept that. So just going to go with the blue 3. Now what does Acosta do on this blue here? Gonna go with this 0. Looking to maybe play this for a little while. Abyan able to play still, and this is really just about who finds that switch or who draws. It's kind of how these high tier starts go for the most part. And Acosta's gonna go with the +2 here, so gives himself the lead. But how much more blue does Acosta have now? Abyan able to keep rolling with the blue. What does Acosta do? Gonna have another blue up his sleeve with a blue 6. So we just keep the blue rolling. And just like that, we get the switch into green. Abyan's had enough of it. I wouldn't be surprised if Acosta had enough of it as well. But we'll see. He usually likes those crossover switches. Yeah, and again, Acosta taking his time here. Doesn't feel he needs to be in too much of a rush. And that's partially the reason why he has a 3-card run into the wild. And we go yellow now. He's giving himself a decent advantage here. Trying to force Abyan's hand. Question is, what will the response be from Abyan here? He's gonna have a +2, so it gives a little bit of a slap there. Throws Acosta back a little bit, and now it is much closer, 6-5. Acosta favor. Trying to look at the history here. That green skip Acosta play, that was his only second skip of the series. And this yellow has gone horribly wrong for Acosta here, as he only has one play here. Was possibly looking for a switch and just did not get it at all. And now Abyan is running with the momentum here. A bit of a scoreboard flip, as now Abyan has 3 cards. Costa still cannot find anything. This yellow has unfortunately gone into a complete disaster. Abyan gets to switch into blue. Down to 2. Looking to make it 4-2 here. Does Acosta have an answer on this blue here? Is this another draw? You also have to wonder if this is check here with Abyan potentially having the +4 in the back pocket. Acosta might need to think about this one. Especially if he has the ammo to fight back. If he doesn't, this might just be him going along for the ride. Really don't know though, because Abyan might not have anything here either. This could ultimately be hoping Acosta makes the wrong card placement here. Acosta taking a second. There's the type here. Blue onto blue. Has nothing. Can Abyan finish it? has the check on the wild green, and at this point, Acosta has to have a switch somewhere, a +2, or this is a wrap. Does not have it. Abyan is going to go up 4-2 here. Gets the win, and Abyan is now 1 away from making his first Final Four. Abyan, I mean, it's 3 straight for you. This upper tier has really worked so well for you. Any comments on being able to just kind of roll through with the cards in your hand at the start and just kind of navigate through the deck to rally the wins here? You are now 1 away from the Final Four. Any comments on that? Alright, well, as I said, high numbers might be my lucky charm this series, so I'm able to control the cards even better. Alright, and then Acosta felt like you were left stranded there after Wild Yell. Ultimately didn't do what you were hoping. Back against the wall, down 4-2. Any comments on what you need to do the rally and make the comeback? Again, Acosta has to win these next 3 straight if he wants to make it to the Final Four, but this is not looking like a good situation for him ultimately. Especially with both players with a power play. Abyan looking to possibly save his for a finish. Getting close to an hour on, getting somewhat close to an hour on the stream time. We're at 50, about to hit 52 minutes. See what Acosta has to say on his current situation. Taking a bit of a type here, just trying to think through his thoughts here, as this is going to be critical. Just not connecting tonight, but I've seen a lot of the series before in terms of going long. We'll have to be strategic on this one. Either way, he had the wild, and I couldn't do anything with that. All right. Well, good news for Acosta is he does have the homestand for these next 2, so makes it a little bit easier since he'll have the control in the start. We'll see what he goes with for Game 7. He's going to have to probably think about this a little bit, as another loss here will end his tournament run. So, Simon, feel free to give him the good old question and tell him which ones he can't pick, which is the 5 and the 9. Although based off the wins he's had, I would not be surprised if he goes somewhere lower, like 7. I don't know if he'll go 6, but I can see him still going low. All right, gonna go with 8. All right, red reverse. There it is. That's the third. I think this is the 3rd game in a row it started with a reverse. Yeah, it is. Will Acosta jump on it, or will it be the same as the last 2 games where it's just a number? All 3 of these reverses so far have been different colors as well. Blue. It's gone blue reverse, yellow reverse, and then now red reverse. So if this goes to game 8 and we start with a green reverse, that would be the strangest rainbow of all time. Costa typing something up here. Will he go to his favorite blue to start things off? We've seen him try to get that blue switch before. It's gonna go with the +2 and the 9. So once again goes for a double here. I think this is the 2nd time he's done that. And that also throws Abyan back to 10. And the question is here, is that all Acosta had? No, he still has some more red. Again, trying to make some separation here. He knows the spot he's in. He cannot let Abyan get ahead and then potentially power play, and that's going to help him as well, as Abyan has ran out on red. Can't find the switch on the 9 as well, so we'll see if Acosta keeps it red or if he goes for the switch here. He is going to go for the switch here, and this might become a 3-color game. Abyan able to play the green here. Acosta rolling. Just kind of able to run through the motions right now. Hasn't had a draw yet. Abyan with a big differential at the moment. Gonna cut the gap down by a little bit, but Acosta's still in relative control. Now the question is, what does Abyan do here? Gets to switch the blue. Bit of a risky switch, but he's got to go for something here. This game has not really panned out in his favor thus far. And yeah, that's gonna be a plan, pretty much plan A. I don't think I don't think Acosta had a single blue that entire game. So the fact that it started red and he was able to get the green switch really just played into his favor. I don't really got much on that one, and he does actually kind of in a way end on his card, the +4. But yeah, I don't really know if there's much you could have done there. Abyan, is there any cards you had specifically, or it was just kind of out for lunch there on that one? All right. And again, I don't really have much for Acosta. That was mostly plan A, but that's kind of what he needs right now. Game 8, this is going to be his last call. If he can get another one of that, he really puts the pressure on Abyan. Now, this is where I can see the 7 coming out. But I have to see, this the lower mid tiers really worked for Acosta. Meanwhile, the upper tiers worked for Abyan. Oh, he's gonna go back to 10 here. All right, so we're going back to 10 here. He lost on 10 before. Gonna try to explore it again, and we do not get the rainbow. Quite unfortunate, but it's gonna start with a red 9. And that's an interesting call from Acosta. Lost on 10 before in game number 4. Might be able to find a little bit of a different outcome this time, potentially. We'll see. Gotta remember, in that game also, he did have control. He did have a good run going, and then ultimately kind of blew up. There's the blue switch right there. As he goes right into the blue. Abyan is going to deny the blue. Or we'll see how Acosta feels about that one. But no blue for Acosta right now, as he's gonna have to stick with the red. Abyan looking to take control of this game and just wrap it up here. Does not want to go to a game 9. We'll have to see what plays out here. I think this, again, I say this a lot, this first draw is going to be absolutely critical. And Abyan's trying to make sure he's not the one who does it first. And that's going to be a 3-card switch to the green. Now he takes the lead. Now he's in the driver's seat here. And that's going to put the pressure on Acosta. You know what Abyan's win condition is here, so he's got to do anything he can to avoid that. Green 4. Abyan looking to keep it rolling down. Double, so it goes down to 3. This could ultimately be situation here where he maybe gets the check, but what's the response from Acosta? No, I don't really know. I don't necessarily know. He could have that one straight junk card that's foiling him. Green 5. And Abyan's ran out on green, so cannot find the finish there. And Acosta has some life now. Runs the green still. Abyan still cannot find a switch or a green. Suddenly Acosta is now in the driver's seat. And now Costa runs out, so now this is potentially the first draw city of the game of the series. I mean, assuming you don't get a top deck here, I mean, this is draw city. I mean, with the game this close, the tension's gonna just keep rising. Acosta finds a top deck yellow. Abyan able to play it, but Acosta is in the lead. But is Acosta have all numbers, or does he have a run? That's really going to be big for him, because if he has all numbers, that might actually still put him at a disadvantage. Abyan taking a second look through his hand. Maybe he has a run going here. No, he has to switch to blue. It's 4-3. Finally go back to the blue here. Does Acosta have it here? He wanted this before. But does Abyan need to go to blue here to find his finish? That very well might be the case. I mean, if he has a finish next turn with the power play, he's just got to hope Acosta does not get the Uno here, because then he can't use it. Acosta's actually going to use the power play here. He doesn't want to risk possibly losing this here. Question is this a finish? It is a finish. All right, it is a finish, yeah. So gets the finish there. Had Uno, but and then the Wild closed it out, but now we're going to game 9. I'm curious what the last few cards were there. On whether you would have been able to block that. But yeah, ultimately the switch to blue might have cost him there. I'm just curious what the mindset was in the last few cards there, because you were definitely getting close. Kind of afraid he has the yellows. I mean, he probably would have wild anyways, the blue, and then he would have been a check. I mean, he probably could have power played anyways. So alright, so there's the question for Acosta. We're going to game 9 here. I haven't really seen anything besides game 5. Hasn't seen anything crazy long, so this could be only like a 4 or 5 minute game. But I think we know the range Abyan's probably going to go for. It's really going to be up to Acosta to see how he rolls with this, and he actually does win on the 10 this time, so the return works. Oh, wait. Let's wait. Acosta needs to answer the question. Acosta needs to answer the question. Well, he is taking a little bit. Yeah, game 9 here. Second game 9 of the round. The first one we saw with Myth and Pac Johnson, and I mean that one was a comeback from 4-3. This one will try to be a comeback from 4-2. So trying to one up Mac here. Yeah, this entire tournament run is all game 9s. Here's another one trying to get back in this one and pray for the best. Yeah, I actually think this has been a heavy final game, heavily final game run for Acosta so far. Yeah, every single game Acosta's played has gone to the last one, so he's looking to make that 4 for 4. Has just barely survived these for the most part, so Has the experience with the pressure, but we'll see if he could get the win here. Abyan's gonna have the call here. Gonna go with 12. Yeah, that was kind of the expected call there. He wants to stay there. That's the highest you could go with. And with how hard you run the upper tier, that's kind of one that's kind of a foregone conclusion. But alright, we'll see how this pans out. It starts with the blue, so Acosta won't even need the switch there in the first place. But this is it. This is the final hand both these guys are gonna get, and it's either glory or despair on what they have. So, or maybe somewhere in the middle. Who knows? But Abyan's gonna go for a quick switch here. Goes into the green. Does Costa look for possibly a blue 9 here? Yes, he does. Has the blue 9. He's been doing that a lot in this series. Really, he's just been finding a way to get these blue switches when Abyan wants to get off it. Able to find the right card there, but will Abyan be able to run the blue? Has a double there, so actually gets the lead now. But how much blue does he really have? That's the question. He might be looking for a switch right away. Abyan goes 1 up with blue 8, so we're staying high on these blues here. And Abyan gets the switch there, but that might be a very pivotal switch. I don't know how much blue he had left. Acosta's going to go for the crossover of the red. I think Abyan's okay with that for now. I just don't know. I don't think he has. I actually don't. I'm not sure how much blue Abyan's going to have there. But running with the red for now. Red skip. It's red 0, so that ties it up. That ties it up, yeah. Abyan still has the advantage, though. Red 3. I mean, the problem is, how does this hand shape up for Abyan here? Does he really have those connectors? Or is he going to have to find those fortunate card placements to get through his deck? Again, Abyan has the power play, though, so has a bit of a lifeline here. Both, I believe, not both down to 6. Gets to switch the yellow now. Abyan, in face value, Abyan in advantage right now. And you don't really know what these guys have, though, so someone could just have that big run to the end right away and just catch everyone by surprise. Yellow 0. Again, this isn't like quick pace here. It's kind of a bit of a slow burn, but every card placed down, pressure builds and builds for both players. It's really who makes that big jump first, if there even is the opportunity to. Again, both these guys have never made a Final Four before, so winner of this is getting a big milestone. Acosta has ran out on yellow. That could be an absolutely devastating draw. And that is actually going to do it. That draw ends up being the end for Acosta here, but as long as Abyan gets this right, it will be over, I think. And this is where the pressure gets real here. That very well could have gone horribly wrong. But yellow reverse, yellow 9. +4 in the wild, and that is it. Abyan has won the series 5-4 with the double wild, and Abyan gets the victory. He makes it to the Final Four for the first time in his career with the power play. I forgot to remove the power play from Acosta. 40 minutes, 40 seconds, yeah. But yeah, Abyan makes it to the final four, unfortunately, the magical run for Acosta, it comes to an end, but what a run it's been. Abyan, will go to you. That was a very stressful series. You were up 4-2. Nearly lost it towards the end. You were going up against someone who was dominant in these last game situations, but was able to find a way um, to get the job done with the ending there. Any comments on the win here? And now you move on to the final four, the fake face Mac Johnson. Um, and just general comments on how this run's been for you so far, and being able to get redemption from March Madness 2024. Costa, um, there's a question for him. Costa, great run to this point. Ultimately, the Game 7 Magic ran out tonight. Thoughts on the overall and what you look to do with the newfound momentum? What truly has been a breakout run in your career? We'll see what Abyan has to say, and then of course we'll see what Acosta says, as his tournament is unfortunately over. I mean, while we're waiting for that, we can take a look at some of the stats here. Yeah, and Acosta actually had the advantage on the plus fours and wilds, but ultimately, Abyan with the reverse skip advantage. I ultimately think that might pan out to somewhat even. Maybe a slight advantage to Acosta, because plus twos are even as well. But Abyan had a lot of plus skips, so we'll have to see how that works out. But for Abyan, that's crazy. Your first Final Four since I entered the server last year. Really stressful end, but at least I can finish it off nicely. GG Acosta, I was quite worried when I heard about your Game 7, Game 9 clutch stats, which I think was in Game 9. So I learned about it 5 minutes ago. But for Acosta, we'll see what he has to say. Really good run for Acosta to this point. A lot of people were talking about him being in that relegation conversation as a lock, but completely flipped the scales tonight. And throughout this entire tournament, and now is well safe in relegation with 3 wins, but unfortunately just came up a little short from the victory here today. But it's gonna be Abyan making it to the final four. And we'll take a look at this updated bracket here again. There you have it, Abyan 8 seed moving on to the final four, going up against number 15 seed Mac Johnson. I need to actually check, but that might be, if I'm not mistaken, that might actually be the first time in league history those seats are playing. But I need to check that, because I could always be lying. Yeah, that will be the first match. That will be the first time those seed lines match up in league history. So, got a little bit of a seedagami there, which is a new term, and it's something we're working on. But we'll be excited to see that 8-15 matchup. But we'll go back to Acosta here as he has his comments. However, oh, I think maybe he forgot a word there. However, this okay, wasn't in my favorites tonight. However, this was my best run in my entire career. I can't complain about how this went, and the fact I could fight with the top guys and play quick as well instead of a 3-hour series was fun. Good shit, Abyan, and happy to force another game 9. So, Costa leaving with high hopes here, but again, there's your bracket. I actually want to check the 14 line as well. Two 14s happened before, and 2-9 and 14-9 I think has happened before also, 3 times actually. So ain't that interesting. Also for some reason the 14th seed is 3-0 against the 9th seed. So yeah, that's interesting. We'll have more of these stats public at some point. But that's the other side of that, but we'll have a first time matchup at the 8-15 there, and also a first time matchup in opponents with Abyan and Mac Johnson. That is quite the final four to say the least, but that's where we're at. But that is going to do it from us. Yeah, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. I actually am looking through. I don't think I have the outro, which might be a slight problem. we could probably work around this though. So yeah, we'll see how this all pans out ultimately. But I'd ask for last comments, but I don't really have any. If we could take a look at some of the more stats still, but yeah, I mean, again, we mentioned before the skips reverses. I mean, we could try to quickly calculate the card strength metric. Just kind of kill some time here. Yeah, so now you get to see the wonders here. As again, we'll go to the bracket base here. And try to get this calculator real quick, because I think it'd be good to take a look at. But yeah, I'm looking at this now. I think this would probably take a little bit to realistically do. So I mean, we could just probably throw in the what's it called? The actual stats for now. Acosta. But yeah, there's your bracket here. We have one more match for you all, and that'll be on Monday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with Monkey and Brad going at it. Brad not having a great start. Did not have a great start this season, but he has absolutely showed out in Tournament 3. This was the tournament he won last season. He is looking to go back to back in this one, and ultimately, with this tournament being a massive recovery for him, he looks to capitalize it to his fullest and go from 0 wins to a spot in the Super League field for the second straight season. And then, of course, for Monkey, he looking to make it back to the Final Four for the second straight tournament. Really looking to be a contender here. Missed out on Super League last season. With back-to-back Final Fours, he is really making a good case for himself to be in the field this year. So we'll see what he can do, but it's going to be interesting to see. There's one more spot left in the Movie May Final Four. We'll see where the magic continues, but until then, we have off tomorrow with no games, because that'll be not Memorial Day, but it'll be the greatest day in racing, I guess, because we have a lot of race fans in this server. So Indy 500, Monaco, which a total of 3 people will watch, and then the Coke 600. So gonna be exciting stuff. We'll see who ends up getting the job. We'll see who ends up getting the job done there, but we'll also see who ends up getting the job done in that matchup on Monday, and then ultimately, eventually, who wins the tournament from there. Gonna be some exciting stuff, and we can't wait to take you all through it. But until then, I'm G-Man. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this stream, make sure to follow our socials. Be sure to join the Discord. Be sure to join the Discord, as well as we do a lot of great stuff there. Have a lot of good, a lot of awesome things going on with that. But again, feel free to tune in there. But until then, I'm G-Man. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will catch you all in the next one on Monday. But until then, make sure to check out D2 as well as Meteorological May. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Congratulations to Abyan for making the Final Four. And we will see you all next time for some more Emery Uno action. Until then, I'm G-Man. Have a great one, everybody.
This has been a presentation of MRE Uno Division 1.